Can we officially say that the MCU Phase 5 and just the MCU in general is officially dead? Or is it too late to say that? Hello there guys, this is Vaderfly. I am coming to you with another video from us to you. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I really do appreciate the love, the attention, and everything else. So today's video is about, unfortunately, the trial of Jonathan Majors, who was accused of some stuff. You can go look that up. I'm not here to talk about the trial, and I'm just here to just give you the basis of what's happening. He will no longer be playing Kang the Conqueror, furthermore, with Marvel Studios after being found guilty on 2 of the charges out of the 4. So this kind of leads me to the question of what does the MCU do further at this point? And I honestly have to say, I think they're fucked. I try not to be so pessimistic with this, but as of lately, I personally have just not enjoyed Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU, except for a couple of projects here and there. I do think that it is a lot to do with the lack of direction and trying to hurry up and rush to the very end to get to the final big bad instead of the slow build up that Phase 1 through 3 had. Even though Phase 1 through 3 actually technically didn't really have a plan itself, I know a lot of people were made to believe that it does, but it kind of really didn't. It just kind of fell together, and James Gunn even himself put together that some of the stuff for the Infinity War was basically put in his earnest to be put in his movie, so he kind of did it on his own. So it's just kind of like, the MCU has always been messy, but at least the first 3 phases were very much, they were able to clean that kind of stuff up, whereas of now, not so much. So this now asks the question, what do they do at this point forward on? I don't know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think after Phase 5 and after getting done with the Kang Dynasty, whatever, I think they need to take a break, honestly. There's nothing really else to really explore with the MCU at this point. You can't really do much else with the MCU without sacrificing more story and, honestly, just the integrity of some of these characters that is going on forward. I have personally fell out of love after Phase 4 of the MCU, and when I was really hoping Phase 5 was going to really kind of change some stuff besides Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I can't even think of another project, honestly. But it's just kind of really disheartening, and honestly, this kind of just tells you right here that I think this is the best way to just stop. If you're having this many problems with your not only your casting, your directors, your writers, there's been so many different directors and writers that have been removed off of projects, and don't get me wrong, Phase 1 through 3 had its own problems with that as well, so it's not like this is nothing new, but this is becoming more frequent than it once was, and from the turmoil that was on the sets of the Marvels, from the decisions, what they did with Wakanda Forever, I have no more faith in the MCU in its whole. Coming back to Jonathan Majors being tried and convicted for his crimes, I just kind of feel at this point like you guys need to let this rest. And I know I'm probably the only one that thinks that, and I probably am going to be the only one that sits in this camp, but I think, honestly, this has to come to a point where you have to ask yourselves, is it more important to make money or to try to go back to making quality products? And I think you need to really sit down with yourself, because you're just trying to hurry up and throw everything to the wall. It will eventually mess up the entirety of what you're trying to make in its entirety. And I've been thinking about that for the longest time, how much I just fell out of love with the MCU, and remembering from when I first saw the first Iron Man movie in the theater many years ago. I saw this movie in 2008. Seeing the first Iron Man movie with my dad, my mom, and my sister in this theater off of Powers in the Cinemark, and to get to see Endgame in that same theater 10 years later, I think that completed my journey of the movies. Being so disappointed with Doctor Strange 2, which was a movie I was really hyped and excited for. Disappointed with, honestly, Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was all right. I didn't think it was the worst movie. I thought it was okay at the best. Being disappointed with Moon Knight, being disappointed with Loki. I think season 2 is better by any means, yeah, but I think it just kind of writes itself into another wall that basically phase 4 and 5 has just been setting up. The What If series I haven't really thoroughly impressed with. So it's just kind of just at this point now I see it and I'm like, I think it needs to rest. I think if you guys need to, after all this stuff with Jonathan Majors, I think there needs to be a sit down and say, what are we going to do? And honestly, that's the best way to really approach this, because I feel so tired because there's so much content where you have to watch for the MCU. Honestly, that was the reason why I had a huge issue with comic books, and that's why I fell out of comic books, is because there were so many comics you had to buy, and sometimes they were so mediocre and so awful that you were spending $3 to $4 on comic books that were awful just to understand the main story plot to a different story that you wanted to be invested in. And that's what I'm feeling what's happening with this. It's like, if you want to understand the Marvels, you need to watch WandaVision and Ms. Marvel. And that has been the biggest issue that this phase has really become. It's literally become comics. And I don't think I'm going to be along for that ride, because it's the same thing where I have time and to have to put focused time and investments into these products and not get the return that I want and hope to see with everything that comes from these phases. And I'm not trying to just completely crap on the MCU, but they have made some choices that have been, needless to say, a little disheartening, and some, needless to say, attacks on fans that have been very questionable in my personal opinion. And at this point, it kind of tells me that you don't care about us, you just care about the almighty dollar. And if that's the case, then I am not going to spend my time and waste my time to try to protect you when somebody says that something's good or bad. Personally, I feel that this is a time period for me to just kind of sit back, see what they're going to do. And if somebody tells me eventually down the road, just like comic books, hey, this comic book's really good, or hey, this movie's really good, you should actually go check it out, I'll go do it, like I did with Guardians 3. The only reason I went to go see Guardians 3 was literally by word of mouth, that it was actually good. So that's how I feel about this at this point. I don't think that the MCU has a leg to stand on, and hopefully we can see something in the future where we can see them kind of try to do something different, but at this point and at this time, I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see. This is going to be a weird day. I definitely a black eye for the Marvel culture. And definitely after many more rumors and other things that have been swirling around the MCU and with Disney, it doesn't look good for this company, and it doesn't look good for the MCU. And I don't mean to have doom and gloom, but yeah, this is not looking too great. But let me know what you're thinking below in the comments below. My name is Vaderfly. I am your lovely little cosplayer guy. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.